Hi folks, I was away from the record button for a long time and I have to admit that developing that music editor and converter for the VCS took more time than I wanted to spend with them. Right now you can convert MIDI, Commodore 64 SID files, DustBox dumps and VGM files including AdLib data for this screen. And unfortunately, besides MIDI, you have to be familiar with the chips themselves. Only understanding how the OPL2 on this little bastard works took me weeks, and to be fair, even knowing that compared to the sound devices today it's an axe of stone, but with 9 channels and 2 slots, it's rocket science compared to the TIA. But thank God for the SID chip, there was already a MIDI conversion tool made in Python, which was incompatible with my current setup, but there's no such a thing as an incompatible module, but a picky environment. And on the other hand, I know that the NES APU, the Game Boy sound system, the AI 38910 is more suited for the VCS's abilities, and I'm planning to work with them.
I'm in danger!
Of course, it would be great if most of our favorite consoles music library would be available as soon as possible, but if you want to get the proper velocity, frequency, what should be heard at the exact moment, you have to emulate the whole thing and convert the result to the TIA. So let's look at this as a side quest. I have another big plan for the future, which I hope will born as a cartridge format in the future, which will combine my favorite bank switching method with the OPL2, giving new sound abilities for the console. But first I have to make this Arduino thing date my VCS so I can have the fruit of their love. The VCS fortunately can turn the joystick ports into output ports, so you can use them to control any devices like the SafeKey, which is a 32K RAM for storing high scores, or the Kidbit, where the VCS controls the playback of the cassette. We have 4 bits on each port, which is fairly enough for communicating with the OPL2 board, which have 5 pins for control. But 2 of them should be never set to high at the same time, so we are not doomed right at the beginning. The biggest challenge is timing, as always on the VCS, since you have to know that 44 samples on the OPL2 take 1 millisecond, while roughly 30 frames happen on the TV screen while you are messing with the NTSC format. So good luck racing the beam while playing music at the same time. But for this video I wanted to show you the last tool I created, but before that let's take a look at the music creator. It's complex, it's a bit overcrowded, so most people will be shocked at first sight, but let's try out the sound player. Animated classic rainbow colors, cartoony buttons, this has the feeling that using this tool is a piece of cake. Yeah, it is, and the cake is not a lie! You have 3 options to choose from. Basically, they are all convert a WAV file to 8-bit mono, 8000 Hz files and convert them to 4-bit data for the VCS. You can open a WAV file you want.
Ready to work!
But also you can record your own. I like hamsters! But probably the funniest one is using a software Sebastian made by reverse engineering the famous speech synthesizer problem for the Commodore 64, SAM.
Hello, I am the voice of the Commodore 64. I am going to say something to you.
My application is only for giving parameters for the program that will play the sound or generate the wave file. If you can remember the very first Atari game Quadrant containing digital speech, Sam can create the same atmosphere.
Quadrant.
Unfortunately, there are two strong limitations. First, wave files take a lot of space. The application uses a simple compressing algorithm, and it will also decrease the sound quality if you won't fit into 4K.
Your command. Make up your mind. Are you still touching me? I'm the retail version of much funnier.
If you go over even after that, it will cut your data. Other limitation is that while playing the sound, you are not able to display anything. Yeah, I know that there are 2600 homebrew like Draconian where really simple 1-bit speech are played during the gameplay. But for doing so you have to write your own kernel to support that, which is also a CDF cartridge, which is based on the Melody ARM support, which is the father of the CDFG bank switching method, which is used by Spiceware, Champ Games and other homebrewers nowadays. Even old Commodore games had to stop display as they played the samples.
Stay a while. Stay forever.
But at least on the Commodore 64, display just became frozen instead of being turned off. But because this section is so separated to the others, I only have to use the temporal variables, so not a single byte of the precious RAM is sacrificed while the RAM is wasted like there is no tomorrow. So you may ask what's coming next. There are some parts of Fortari I really want to debug and redesign. Programming is a world where you mostly hate what you had done 1 year ago, and I really don't like this memory setter, and I'm not sure if I should keep this structure either. The more exciting part coming will be the screen top and bottom elements. The concept did not change much. There will be pre-baked elements, some will be pretty static, some will be changeable and controllable through memory values. Basically this means sky or ground parts of the game not accessed by the elements of the game section. Also scoreboards, health indicators, scrolling static text or dynamically changeable ones, you know, the classic stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching, hope I can present you something exciting soon. Stay tuned.